What's up, guys? It's another episode of Off the Post, and I'm your host, DJ Redcap. I like this voice I talk in now. It's like so smooth. I'm gonna start keep using that. Anyway, yes, we're gonna be talking about France versus the USWNT team, the thriller in America, in the She Believes and Candy and Ice Cream tournament. We'll talk about that. But first, let's see what the panelists have been up to. Working as always. Uh, Jen Hayes, what have you been up to?
Uh, well, since the 3 days you last talked to me, it's not much has changed. I've been, doing some work, catching up on all the games around the world. It's been a pretty busy week, but I've enjoyed it.
Very good, very good. Jake, what have you been up to?
Still just working, and also my wife is still waiting for our baby to come. So we still got a little less than 2 weeks, but any day now, she's full term, so any day the baby could be coming.
I hope it comes while we're like on a show. That'd be amazing. It'd be kind of cool too. So I'm waiting for that. And Danica, what have you been up to?
I've actually not been working because I'm in Phoenix this week. What? Back in the hometown. So
Mm-hmm,
actually, I am working out here. So I guess that's not true. I lied. I am working as well.
mm-hmm. I'm just waiting for. So I just climbed a mountain today, but other than that, nothing much. But everyone, once again, the life of adults, just working. Let me tell you some good news that's coming up, people. You know about those spotlights? Yeah, we had a few of them last year. If you don't remember, you can check the old Off the Post channel and see some of the amazing special guests we had on there. Wink, wink. So we're gonna have spotlights again this year, and we're gonna have them stacked upon each other because we want to get them all done before the season starts. So we're gonna have Portland first. So all you Portland fans, I don't know if it's going to be big this year because Alex Morgan's not on the team. But if you are still a Portland fan, I don't know if you're an Orlando fan, please watch this show. It will be, I think it's on the 13th. And Jake is even there, isn't he? I think, are you on that one? Yep,
I am
Jake's
on
on
that
that
one.
one. So see, you'll get to see Jake and you can watch it like Portland if you're still a fan. I doubt half of you are. So we'll see what happens with that one. Shall we jump into the game now? Yes, we shall. Expectations going into the game, as you know how our topic list always go. Let's start with you, Jen Hayes. What were your expectations going into this game?
Well, I was kind of hoping for more of a lineup shakeup than we got. Try out some new pieces because I can speak. Um,
Faces.
Shut up, DJ. Try out some new pieces. Maybe try to work on some different things against another top team. So that one didn't quite come off the way I expected it to. I know I expected a low scoring game. I was off by one of my predictions, but we'll get to that when we start talking about the game. So didn't quite live up to what I had expected.
Jake, what were your expectations going into the game?
I, I was looking forward to having another performance from our number one squad. Actually, I take this as like a preparation for Rio, where we get a consistent lineup and they have to play back-to-back games with little rest and see how they can perform. I was expecting the same lineup to be played against England. I mean, we only had one change, and that was Sonnet for JJ. And that's probably good because if you play Sonnet instead of JJ, JJ might have a game where she has a yellow card accumulation, and we have to insert a different player in. So we get to see that dynamic between Sonnet and Becky Sauerbrunn play out. I'm actually glad that JJ was in this game because I think that in possession she's better. When she pulls out wide right, it allows Kelly O'Hara to push further forward and
Mm-hmm.
attack. And I think we missed that against England because Sonnet is a very safe possession-based player. She plays a square ball to Becky, or she plays a safe pass to Morgan Bryan versus playing a longer diagonal ball that breaks a couple lines and
Mm-hmm.
really threatens attacking wise. So I was expecting this lineup. I'm glad that we got to see it again. I'm glad to get the kind of get another rep and try to work out how to break down a more elite team than we got to see in the CONCACAF tournament.
And what position do you play, just so they all know?
I am also a center defender.
There we go. I just wanted to know. I was like, he's breaking it down like a center defender right now. Very good. Listen to that man, people. And Danica, what were your expectations going into this one?
Similar to Jake, I was figuring that there wouldn't be too much of a lineup change-up. I was hoping maybe Heo or some kind of throwing one of those people that they brought up into the mix, but I wasn't really too surprised when they didn't. This may be an unpopular opinion. I don't hate the KO Kling pair-up. Obviously, Krieger's really good, but see, I feel like, and I can talk about this more in when we go into the first half, but I feel like Jealous is trying something new, so might as well see if it actually will pay out or not. Play it out a little bit, so that may not be everyone's favorite opinion. Yeah, JJ made a lot of sense just given that it was France. I was expecting France to have a lot of possession, which obviously kind of played out in the first half especially. Yeah, so nothing too surprising, I would say.
Right. Yeah, I guess mine was the thing. I was looking for us to come out there with a lineup that, like a first-team lineup really, and try to just hammer it to France or come at France as hard as we possibly could to start off. I guess all of us were wrong. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I wasn't mad with the lineup. I'm never too mad when I get to see, like, Kelly O'Hara stuff play or whatever. But I guess I was more so, like you said, I was glad about the Sonnet thing. I wanted JJ back out there just because I felt like I felt more comfortable with her back there, and I still feel she's young, so she needs time against some of these good teams too. People I think forget how old she actually is, and still is adjusting to the position herself because she has such a great World Cup. But let's jump into that first half since we all have a lot to say about that first half. Let's start back with you, Danica. Your thoughts on what you saw in the first half?
It wasn't a very good first half, and so I think the thing that kind of was the oh my goodness and I was screaming repeatedly was when Becky lost the ball, and I think that shows two things: one, even gods can make mistakes, and two, well, it shows the weakness of this new pushing the flanks up. And so I feel like Ellis has been doing this basically because if you look at beginning of the Olympics, it's always been our upper third is not doing anything. We're not getting the offensive attacks that we need. So I feel like she's trying to rectify that by bringing the flanks up. But then when you have the Department of Defense, who was the reason that we stuck in it, and you're kind of sacrificing your Department of Defense to do that. So I'm also referring to them as the Department of Defense. So I'm going to keep doing that. Okay. Well, it's kind of how do you weigh that? Do you really want to sacrifice something like that, but also would potentially give you an edge? And I think when Becky lost the ball and we almost got scored on within the first 10 minutes, it kind of showed the major weakness of that strategy. So I get what she's doing, so I kind of like it in a sense, and I want to see how it plays out. But there's obvious weaknesses to it. And then, yeah, France just possessed it. They should have scored so many times. I think, actually, their best shot was probably Carly Lloyd. Was probably the closest they actually got. But thank God for hope. But, yeah, that was... Sorry, I kind of went on a separate rant. But, yeah, I think that's kind of... I don't know. That's what I have to say. We'll see what everyone else has to say.
That's good. That's good. Jake usually steals what everyone has to say anyway, so it's fine. Not mess with it. But no, I was expecting I guess I was expecting some goals in that half too. I expected it to be a little bit of back and forth type of thing, but like you said, Carly really almost helped France out, and that would have been amazing, wouldn't it? I would talk to Jen right now, but she's probably going to go off for that comment. So we're going to go to Jake right now. Jake, your thoughts on that first half?
Yeah, I think Danica was spot on the wing back situation.
Yep.
We have Kling and KO who like to push forward, and when we lose the ball in our own half, then it's just a breakaway situation, and then we're all scrambling back on defense. And I think it was interesting that the U.S. got to face a different type of opponent. This game was the first time in a long time that an opponent actually outpossessed us in a half.
Right.
We were sitting back, and France's middle trio of Hamraoui and Avili and Le Sommer, they were passing around, keeping it simple, really attacking down the flank with Tamis in that space that Klingenberg would vacate. And because of their wingers being so high up the field, it actually, at one point, it was actually interesting Klingenberg and KO actually had to tuck in really narrow. So it was really hampering our transition play because to defend their high press, our defense had to collapse a bit. And when we collapsed, it kind of slowed down our transition play. And I think what we've been doing really well at recently is getting Kelly O'Hara and Klingenberg up into the attack a little bit more. And because they were tucked in narrow, it really slowed them getting out wide. And so if our midfield trio couldn't hold the ball, our only option was to play a long ball up to Alex Morgan into the channels. And it made for a sloppy looking game in the first half because, we're just playing that long ball to Alex Morgan, hoping she can hold it up. Our best chances really came from when we could find Mallory Pugh into space, and she could really burst into space and be dynamic. But really, we weren't able to combine in the central midfield very much, and Haran and Brian were having a hard time escaping the French midfield. So it was difficult, but the big takeaway though of the half was that we didn't get punished for our mistakes, which was helpful going into the second half, because if we had been down a goal, it would have been a completely different game. And I think going into the second half a little bit here, but going in 0-0 kind of let us grow into the game a bit versus going down 1 or 2-0. That the French really should have really punished us on a couple of those mistakes. They whiffed on the one in front of goal and one of their free kicks at the crossbar. So it was not necessarily us stopping them, but them not scoring.
Right. I guess I'll go to Jen now about the Carly Lloyd thing. Thoughts on Carly?
Just because I am a Carly Lloyd fan does not mean I am an apologist. I will call her. There is a difference, and I've seen too many apologists of other players who shall remain nameless because that starts fights. Yeah, that was a bit of a heart stopper. Carly Lloyd almost pulling a Laura Bassett on For Hope solo. I saw some criticism. Why was she so far back? What else is she supposed to do? Because this was coming off a France corner kick, so she was supposed to be there. Granted, it was again almost an own goal, and she got very lucky. And France was France. They play so well. They have probably the most fluid possession in the world of anybody, even Japan, because they've been struggling. So, yeah, but it's always been their Achilles heel, has been their inability to finish their chances. I mean, you had the shot that Leigh-Samare really should have put away in the first 10 minutes that she whiffed on, which is typical France, They get all these chances and they can't put them away. So, I think we were extremely fortunate to go into the half scoreless, especially considering the shocking amount of mistakes and turnovers that Becky Sauerbrunn had, But again, she's human, They don't happen very often, but she made mistakes, and hopefully it doesn't happen again until after the Olympics, because we need Brune on her best, especially with the system that we're playing with the wing backs getting so high up. Maybe we need to change that against a team like France that has speedy players like Tomise on the wings that can get forward in a heartbeat. Maybe we shouldn't be so offensive minded in our wing backs, and that's where a player like maybe Ali Krieger comes in. She doesn't get forward as much as KO and Kling do. So, have a game like that, have Krieger start at right back, KO move to left back, put Kling on the bench. Never going to happen, knowing Jill Ellis, how much she loves Kling, but try that and give them instructions. Don't get forward as much, stay back, keep an eye on Tomise, because with a player that fast, I like Kling, but she just doesn't have a lot of speed, and KO does, Tell her, don't push back, stay on Tomise as much as possible so she doesn't get forward. So it's kind of my thoughts on the first half.
I guess my thing is against these better teams, the whole like pushing up the wingbacks. Are we going to finally get burned at one time or another? I guess France had their opportunities, just didn't do enough finishing. Like so, they're always so fluid, and I always expect so much more out of France. But then in the end, I guess we get, we know how they're going to end up anyway. They're going to end up losing the game or not scoring enough somehow. Because it was like that during the whole World Cup. But yeah, I'm just really worried about this strategy we've been playing. I guess it's good that we're trying it against these top teams right now and not in any major tournament and seeing how it goes. And right now, I mean, it's real iffy to me for the most part. Like this whole, I would do like you said. I would like it a bit more defensive. I guess that's just how I think anyway. And then just let your other attacking players do their thing because we got enough talent anyway to kind of do their own thing. But I guess she's sticking with this and seeing where it goes right now. I can't see her changing because it's not the Ellis way to really just flip-flop. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not that. I think the Ellis way right now is to try this strategy. She's like bent on this, and she wants to get this because she feels like this is the way to transition the team moving forward. So I guess we're going to stick it out and see how it goes unless we get burned by somebody. But we've been winning these games, so I mean, she's almost going to feel like, if we haven't lost a game, then why should I change? Let's get into the second half. So start with you first, Jen Harris. Thoughts on the second half?
This whole game was a tale of two halves. First half, France really came out and put us under the gun quite a bit. Second half was a much different story. We were controlling the play. Midfield was linking up so much better. I think a lot of the turnovers that were plaguing us in the first half pretty much disappeared. I think Carly had some really nice through balls to Morgan and Mallory Pugh, who we haven't talked about because I hate to say it because of how many freaking times we hear it on the broadcast, but she is still 17, and to watch her play so well against these top teams has been really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just about every area of the field improved. Biggest problem that I have, why did we wait till the 85th minute to put in the substitute? I mean, I get that they were playing much better, but maybe we would have scored before stoppage time if Ellis had gone to her bench a little bit sooner. So that's a problem. Pretty much the only real problem of the second half because, I thought we played much better, more connection. Didn't quite see the back line going up as much as they did try to do in the first half. Maybe it was an adjustment by Ellis at halftime. I don't know. But it was an encouraging second half, and then Morgan's goal, really pitch perfect pass from Pugh, even though she was getting attacked by a couple of French defenders.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically put that right on a platter for Morgan to do. And it was a good sign of improvement that Morgan was able to finish that because last year she probably would have hit it right at Buhadi. But no, she finished it this time. We got the win. Everybody's happy. I don't know how happy some of us are, but yeah, it was a much better second half for me.
Oh, I just wanted to say this since we have high viewership today. If you have any questions or want to say anything to us, use the hashtag WolfSoTalk. If you want to talk about my red cap, use the hashtag RedCapDJ. All right, Jake, your thoughts on the second half?
Yeah, I think, it was a case of the U.S. kind of growing into the game. The first half was kind of a shock to the system, and I think the players had to react at halftime and kind of reorganize themselves and say, we need to play better, guys, and really take this by the scruff of the neck. In the second half, it was better from Haran. She was dropping deeper, splitting center backs and collecting the ball and really initiating the offense. Much better than she had in the first half. The first half, I know she was having trouble breaking free from the other midfielders for France, and getting her on the ball was better. And just the whole play, we were much more fluid with our passing. And with regards to the substitutions, it's difficult because you could see that the U.S. was growing into the game, and it's kind of a situation where Ellis is like, I need to let these players figure it out in the field.
Right.
When are they ever going to get the opportunity to play such high-quality opponents in a situation that's not going to hurt us? and really work it out and try to figure out how to break down an opponent. So I'm not necessarily against her waiting so long. It's another thing for a coach is that it's hard to break up a team that's kind of on the rise. They were growing into the game. You don't want to necessarily throw in another substitute and then kind of change what's going well. So at the 85th minute, maybe 5 minutes a little late on the substitution front. Dunn and Press are great attacking players, and I mean, Press was in there challenging the center defender. I think her name is Mbaki. I forget what her name is off the top of my head, but she was challenging for a header. Mbach leaves it, and Pugh collects it and plays a great through pass for Alex Morgan in stoppage time, and we grind out a victory. So it's harsh on France that it took so long for us to break them down. They were pretty good defensively throughout the game. There wasn't a whole lot of clear-cut chances for the U.S., but at the same time, I think this just shows why we're world champions. Champions are always able to grind out results when they're not at their 100% best. So I think that it really shows that we have a good mentality going forward into Rio to show that we aren't going to, in tough situations, roll over and, give up our style of play just because it's not working 100% of the time.
Yep. We got a question actually from Twitter. It's from US Women's Football. I like football. She asked, how do you guys like Kristen Press as the first sub on? Do you think that's a fixture position for her? So who would like to answer that first? Or does anyone just want to answer? We can just let one person answer it. You were actually talking about the subs. Jake, you want to answer that one real quick?
I liked the Dunn and Press substitutions in tandem because when they brought them on, they dropped Carly Lloyd a little bit deeper. And I think she's been having trouble in the last couple of games because she's been so high up the field that she's having to play with her back to goal. And I think that she's been struggling with that a little bit. And she wanted to drop Lloyd in a little bit deeper to collect the ball and be able to run at defenders. And by bringing in Press, it gives Alex Morgan a strike partner. And I think Press is actually kind of developing into that underneath role pretty well as a secondary option off the bench. And I think, I personally think that Crystal Dunn may have been a better first option off the bench, but they came on together, so it wasn't like it was, totally out of the blue.
Yep. No, that was
I like it. I like Kristen Press personally. I think that her technical ability is arguably better than Alex Morgan and maybe deserves a shot against some of these more technical teams. But the way they bring her on late, I don't know. I personally don't think that she excels as much as Crystal Dunn as a super sub. But at the same time, I think that she fits that role pretty well and can combine with her teammates effectively.
All right, nice. Yeah, thanks for that question. See, this actually does work when you use that hashtag, people. All right, let's. I guess we can go to a bit of a wrap up. Danica, your final thoughts on this game?
So yeah, I think that she was obviously a very good bright spot. She's been doing a lot of really great things. The fact that she's 17, obviously, as everyone always talks about, is very impressive. I think sometimes her youth shows, like when she did the pass back to Hope that almost got picked up by a French player. But I mean, she's still doing a lot of really great things, and really feel like the first half, all of our attacking plays she was a part of, or she was doing a lot of great things. So I'm really excited, and I hope that she keeps on even being in the starting position. I think it's hard though, because I don't know if she's a 90-minute player, but then it's hard to say that when in 90+1 she assists on the goal. So yeah, I think that it's someone had tweeted this, that it's classic fashion where U.S. underperforms yet we still win, and France performs amazingly yet still loses. I think that, yeah, we probably should have used subs earlier just because I'm concerned about it when we play Germany, if everyone's just going to be way too tired. And what else did I want to say? Oh, set pieces. I love Morgan Bryan. I think she's fantastic. Ooh, in a lot of different ways. I don't think she's doing very well with those set pieces. And I think it's also because they're trying to mix up the set pieces and try these different things, which is exciting. You need to be able to try them.
Yeah, I've noticed that, yeah.
But they're just not working out. And so I guess keep on trying to a degree, but maybe we got to change something up in there because those are just not good looking at all. Yeah, and so I guess, thankfully, I think Hope and Pew were probably the bright spots of the game. And then a side note, subbing Ingen in that like last 5 minutes, it's just so sad. Like it's kind of a slap to the face. Like you bring in Ingen and you bring in Heyo, and like we're all kind of like, okay, let's see them play, and then it's just like, okay, we're just gonna use you as just like time wasting. Like that, I don't know. That's kind of, I would hate to be Ingen in that situation.
And let's go with Jen Hayes real quick. Your final thoughts on the game?
Yeah, thanks for bringing up the set pieces, because that was something I was going to mention and it totally slipped my mind. Yeah, it's sad because that used to be one of our biggest strengths, be able to get goals off of set pieces, and now we haven't done anything with them. It's partly a factor of losing both Lauren Holiday and Megan Rapinoe, so we haven't found someone that can actually do that, but that's something that needs to work on because Morgan Bryan's set pieces, as you said, they were horrible. They were absolutely horrible. I don't think one of them hit the mark, was within 5 feet of the mark. So that's something that has to be worked on. Overall, yeah, not a performance again that's going to be talked about as a great U.S. one, but I think it shows the difference between a world championship team like the U.S. and a wannabe championship team like France that, we can get these wins even though we're not playing even though we're playing like crap, and they can play well and screw it up. So I'm hoping that next game will be better because these two have not been great. But again, I mean, that's usually what you get when you put these top caliber teams together. You're not usually going to get one team absolutely dominating and winning 6, 7, 8 to nothing.
Right.
And that's what we wanted because we've been complaining. Oh, we're only playing against tomato cans. Wait till we get to the big tough competition. Blah blah blah. Now it's here and. People are complaining, oh, we're not winning by enough. People just can't be satisfied. So, yeah, we'll see what happens in the next game.
I don't know why I was the only person that thought it was funny when she said tomato cans. And I just started thinking of tomato soup. I was like, man, I'm sorry. I'm the only person that thought it was funny, I guess. But she's right about that. You get so sick of playing these trash tomato can teams. And then... Sorry. And then, and then we finally play good competition, and you're expecting to dominate, and it's just not supposed to be that way. If we were that dominant, then it would be amazing. But no team, I've never seen that happen, even on the men's side or any side. We're the top team just because you're number one, or won the world championships or the World Cup, I would say, that you just go out and beat everyone just 5-0 or dominate every game. So this is good, and especially because we're trying stuff right now. And like I said, we haven't really even started a season yet. So the other teams, their players have been playing, I think, a bit. So they're kind of informed a bit more, I'm guessing, too. So this is even better for us, right? Right? So I can't complain. I mean, I know the games aren't probably the best of what people want out of the U.S. Women's National Team, but we'll get better. We somehow always win because the best teams, our team usually finds a way to win it somehow. So we'll be fine. I say not to worry too much. Let them keep experimenting. And that set piece thing, I'm not even going to get started on that. I've been agreeing with that. Maybe I'm saying this. Maybe we're experimenting at this time. We'll find out where we want to be with that as we go along. So let's do a quick thoughts on the next game and a quick score. And we will go with Danica.
Ooh, okay. I can't claim to be a Germany expert, so I'm just going to kind of base this off of more generalities. I feel like, so I think also a point that we forget is that it's really a relatively new U.S. team. Like we lost so many players, and so I
Mm-mm.
think Carly Lloyd post game had mentioned how like they're really still growing into it. It's so, but that being said, in Germany, what already being in the season, as Jess had mentioned, I think we're gonna hurt. I think we're gonna get hounded. I think that they might win 1-0 or 0-1, however you want to put it. And or maybe we'll magically get a goal. I think that hope can only do so much, and if we play like we've played that first half, that we're gonna get hurt. And also, I wasn't able to talk about the second half, but I think yeah we were playing better, but I also think that France got tired, and I think that they were holding back just probably because they were tired or holding defensively back. And so I don't think Germany would do that. I think they're strong enough and physical enough to play the full 90. And so I think that they're going to repeatedly hound us, and I don't know if we'll be able to adjust to it. But then again, as we mentioned, we are a World Cup winning team. So maybe Dunn will come in and like do something amazing, or maybe Alex Morgan will get that shot in. So I'm saying I'm going to go with 1-1 tie. Germany takes the cup.
Okay. And who you got scoring for us?
I'm gonna go Dunn just because I'm a Dunn fan.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Dunn. Jake, yours?
I'm hoping for more of the same in terms of lineup. I still want us to kind of work through these kinks and get ready for Rio with a number one squad kind of intact. I want us to, be able to figure out how to work our possession game against the best teams in the world. That being said, it's going to be interesting because Germany actually play a 4-3-3, which we haven't seen really this in 2016 yet. So it'll really give our wingbacks a test on, how far do we venture forward to support our attack when we have to worry about wing strikers in the form of Alexander Pop or I think Mandy Islacher is actually on the other side now. So it'll be interesting to see how our defense copes with that. They have a true midfield trio that we'll have to combat with. So that'll be interesting to see how we line up against that. In terms of lineup, the only thing I might switch up might be Tobin Heath for Crystal Dunn, who's a little bit more direct and attacking in her play. Tobin's really a wide player who likes to stretch the field and bring people into the attack and not necessarily quite so straight to goal type of mentality. No, I kind of agree with Danica. I think we haven't conceded a goal in 2016, but we've really probably should have by this point. So I think we'll concede a goal, and I think at that point it'll really test our mentality. So I think it'll be 1-1, like she said, and that won't be enough to win the cup because the tiebreaker is goals scored, and Germany has one more than us. So we'll see what happens. It's a young squad, so even if we lose this tournament, it's not the end of the world. It's really a test to get us ready for Rio and get us prepared for that tournament, not necessarily lifting the She Believes tournament championship. So if we don't beat them and we tie, it's not the end of the world. There's nothing really riding on it. So
I always
yeah,
wanted. I was just about to say I always wanted to win a cup with a hashtag on it, but all right. So 1-1 is your score. Who's your goal scorer?
And I'll go with let's go Alex Morgan.
Okay, sounds good. Jen Hayes, take us home. Who do you got, and who's your goal scorer?
Well, I'm not actually as high on Germany as these two are. I mean, I know they've been in season, but in watching them for the first two games, they haven't looked that great either. They were pretty much overrun by France. They got lucky like we did with a late goal, although theirs was more of a howler by Boo ha 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 dee. So and they didn't look that great against England either. Again, they got pretty lucky, with that quote unquote penalty that shouldn't have been a penalty at all, and an own goal that was an unlucky deflection. So, and plus, unlike France, I don't really see any speed on this German team. You know, they seem kind of slow. You know, their back line is shall we say turtle-esque. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and with the speed that we have, players like Mallory Pugh, Alex Morgan, Crystal Dunn, that they could very easily get behind and cause some havoc. So I know everyone's predicting a draw. I'm predicting I'll go 2-0 again. I'll say Alex Morgan and Crystal Dunn goals.
All right. I guess I feel more like everyone else. Sorry, Jen. Yeah, it's about time for us to either draw with someone, like someone actually score on us, or it's time for us to take an L. So I'm gonna be nice and I'll say 1-1 because that's a good cop out. I mean, like, so I'm not really have been impressed with Germany or anything else. Like, I feel more with Jen Hayes like that, but I still feel like they can probably snag a goal here or whatever. And I definitely haven't been impressed with us, so I feel like it's a good game where it can go either way, and neither team can come out with much. But I think they're gonna probably score a goal. Sarah Dabritz will score the goal for Germany, and for the U.S. let's go for Kristen Press goal, because we've been needing one of those, haven't we? So we're gonna say that. But I mean, it's a game. I guess I'm looking forward to it a little bit, but I would be looking forward to it more if it was just like it actually meant a bit more than the hashtag cup. So it's weird. Like all these games. It looks good on paper, but it's just like, I don't know. I guess a lot of us have been like, yeah, you know, what we've been saying, and that's fine because it's not like a big tournament or anything like that. So when it gets to the big games later on down the road, World Cups or whatever else, little real tournaments that pop up. See, I said real tournaments. Then we'll actually start looking towards that to see how these teams have actually matured, especially with us. We want to see how we get down the road like 2 or 3 years. Right now, we're just looking at this team. It is a lot of new players, and a lot of people forget that. A lot of these players are still young. Like I said, Morgan Bryant is still young, but people forget that, you know, she's still really growing into her role, so to speak. So, yeah, I'll go 1-1. That's what I'll do. And then Germany will raise the cup and bring more, trophies back to their homeland. So that's everything. Well, how did we do, people? Yeah, pretty good. Good. We had good viewership today. But for the few that are remaining, remember, spotlights are starting soon. We have another show, though, to wrap up the whole She Believe. What you got to say?
Okay, just real quick. I had a couple things to note around the world. So our under-23s I've been following, and I mentioned them last episode.
Yep.
They finished up their Istria Cup campaign. They actually tied Poland 0-0 with their, I mean, I'm going to quote-unquote say that they're the reserve squad for the group. And Poland was outshot 25-0 throughout the game. So it sounded like it was like a true defensive, you know, the U.S. was just pounding and just couldn't break through. But then today they played the French B team and beat them 2-0 with goals from Shea Groom from FDKC and Duke's Christina Gibbons. So they ended up winning the tournament because they were the only team not to lose, and we left the tournament with 0 goals conceded. So yay for our under-23s. And then Olympic stuff. We saw that Australia and China clinched their places over in Asia, and Australia actually finished the campaign. Well, they're not quite done yet. They're 4-for-4 and wins, but they actually have one last game just to see, you know, ranking wise, if they are the best in Asia or not. But those are the 2 Asian representatives, and then over in Europe, if Sweden get a tie against the Netherlands, they qualify. So
Okay, nice.
we're getting close to solidifying that field for Rio.
Oh, this is sweet. I'm glad you actually do all that research for that, so it keeps all the people informed. I personally wanted North Korea to go to Rio because it would have been just awkward to see North Korea anywhere except outside of their own country. But other than that, I think that's everything, right? We did pretty good. Yeah. Like I said, look out for those spotlights, and other than that, we're going to have a show to wrap up this cup pretty soon. We'll have Danielle, Jen Carl, and Courtney on the closers to wrap up this cup. So I'm your host, DJ Redcat. It's another episode of Off the Post. I think we got to do that wave, don't we? And then I can press that stop broadcast button down there. Okay, I see some waves. For some reason, Jen Hayes is frozen to me, so I'll assume she's waving right now.
She
Bye
is.
bye. Bye bye.